are starting 5.6. 5.6 is the basis of everything we do. It is the fundamental theorem of algebra. This is where it all begins. This is the foundation of it all. The fundamental theorem of algebra simply is a way to find all rational, irrational, and imaginary roots, which again, roots just means it's zeros. So if we are finding its roots are its zeros, and they're irrational, they still cross the x-axis, but it's a repeating decimal, or it's non-repeating decimal that goes on forever. So that means that we got to do it another way. And if it doesn't cross the x-axis the times it's supposed to, that means it's imaginary. So we're going to have to find those zeros as well. So we are going to do the fundamental theorem of algebra. Okay. Here are our steps. Now, they may not make a whole lot of sense till we get to it, but we're going to start with the steps. Step number 1, find all possible rational zeros. Step number 2. Step number 2, from possible. You must find n minus 2 zeros. So out of your big list, before we can continue to the next step, you've got to find whatever your largest exponent is, minus 2, that many zeros. So if your largest exponent is 5, you've got to find 3. If your largest exponent is 3, you only have to find 1 to start. Okay? Once you find those actual zeros, step 3, use polynomial and each rational zero in synthetic division. Okay, so picture this. This is what's happening. You have a polynomial. Let's say it's to the 5th exponent. It means you have to have 3 zeros to begin with, right? You're going to start with synthetic division. You're going to take the first 0 and divide by it. That's now taking it down to x to the 4th. You're going to take your next 0, divide by it. That takes it down to x to the 3rd. You're going to take your next 0, divide by it. That takes it down to x to the 2nd. Then, once you get it down to a quadratic, we are going to solve. And we're either going to solve by square root method, factoring, or quadratic formula. So this takes everything we've done in last chapter and this chapter so far and smushes it all together. Everything we have done for the last 2.5 months, we're going to do in today's lesson.
For the next 2 months, this is all we're doing?
No, that's not what I said.
Oh.
What I said was everything we've done for the last 2 months all go into this lesson. Okay? All right, so here's how it's going to work. I'm going to show you a little example to start with. Oh, it'll be fine. No worries there, Trent. All right, so let's say, here's example number 1. Find all roots. And we're going to start with x to the 4th plus x to the 3rd minus 7x squared minus 9x equals 0. All right, whoops, 9x times, minus 18. I forgot my last number. Sorry, guys. Minus 18 goes in there. Equals 0. All right, so the very first thing we have to do is find all of our possibles. Here's step number 1. I need everybody's heads up for me. First, we find the possible, which are all the factors of 18. So 1 and 18, 2 and 9, and 3 and 6. Over all the factors of the first number, which in this case is just 1. So we have possible zeros at plus and minus 1, plus and minus 2, plus and minus 3, plus and minus 6, plus and minus 9, and plus and minus 18. From those 12, my highest exponent is a 4. So I take 4 minus 2, and I have to find 2. So from that list of 12, I got to find 2. The easiest way to find those 2 is to go ahead and graph it. So everybody go ahead, grab your graphing calculator. Grab your graphing calculator. Graph this polynomial and find me 2 zeros. Yes. The x equals plus and minus 3. Okay, so now that we have 2 zeros, the next step is we start our synthetic division. So we're going to do a long one-sided tic-tac-toe. My coefficients are 1x to the 4th, 1x to the 3rd, minus 7x squared, minus 9x minus 18. First thing I start with is I'm going to start with positive 3. Bring down my 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Add them together, I get 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Add it together, I get 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Add it together, I get 6. 3 times 6 is 18, and there's no remainder. So now we're going to continue with our next 0. So keeping it in the same thing, we're going to continue our long one-sided tic-tac-toe, and now put a negative 3 on the outside. So we're going to bring down our 1 first. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Add it together, we get 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Add it together, we get 2. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And again, there's no remainder. So the quadratic we have left is x squared plus x plus 2. Technically, that's set equal to 0. We can't factor that one. Can't do the square root method, so we have to do the quadratic formula. So we do negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So I get negative 1 plus and minus the square root of 1 minus 8, or negative 7, all over 2. What's the only thing that can come out of that square root? So that means I have a negative 1 plus and minus I root 7 all over 2. And what other two answers did I have? What ones did you find me in the beginning? Plus and minus 3. So this is a total of 4 of them that I had to find for this problem. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Obviously, we haven't gotten through enough of this